नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी. Hare Krishna. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam introduction. We'll continue our reading. Let me share my screen. In this age of Kali, there is no other religion but the glorification of the Lord by utterance of His holy name. And that is the injunction of all the revealed scriptures. And my spiritual master has taught me one shlok from the Brahma Naradya Puran. Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Eva Kevalam. Kalau naste, 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 Vevgatirannatha. Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Eva Kevalam. Kalau nastev, 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 gadirannatha. So, on the order of my spiritual master, I chant the name of Hari, and I'm now mad after this holy name. Whenever I utter the holy name, I forget myself completely. Sometimes I laugh, cry, and dance like a madman. I thought that I had actually gone mad by this process of chanting, and therefore I asked my spiritual master about it. He informed me that this was the real effect of chanting the holy name, which produces a transcendental emotion that is a rare manifestation. It is the sign of love of God, which is the ultimate end of life. Love of God is transcendental to liberation, mukti, and thus it is called the fifth stage of spiritual realization. Above the stage of liberation, by chanting the holy name of Krishna, one attains the stage of love of God, and it was good that fortunately I was favored with the blessings. So just to give you the context, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in Banaras and he's just going and chanting, singing on the roads, on the streets. And this great Mayavadi scholar, Prakashananda Saraswati, when he learned about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he couldn't appreciate. Rather, he was condemning that as being a sannyasi, why he's going and chanting and dancing like a madman. Rather, he should sit and study the scriptures. And upon us, later when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met him, he said, Guru more murkhadeki karila shashan. My guru, my spiritual master, so that you are a fool number one. And he told me, just you chant the holy name. You don't have Vedanta adhikar. You don't have any right to study the scriptures. So that is the context going on. So here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Lord himself, but he has come as a Gupta avatar, the Supreme Lord in the form of a devotee, just to teach the people in Kali Yuga that what is the way to worship the Lord, to connect with the Lord. So the recommended process in this Kali Yuga is just chanting the holy name. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is sharing that, when I started chanting this, I started becoming mad in ecstasy. And I was wondering like what is going on. And then he goes and confirms with his spiritual master, and his spiritual master confirmed that yes, that is the real effect of chanting the holy name. When somebody chants sincerely, attentively, rightly, then one feels that ecstasy. So that is what the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is teaching here. Okay, now the devotees can take the turns and then read. Let me just call out some names. Padma Mataji, go ahead and read.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. On hearing this statement from the Lord, the Mayavadi sannyasi asked the Lord, what was the harm in studying the Vedanta along with chanting the holy name? Prakashananda Saraswati knew well that the Lord was formerly known as Nimai Pandita, a very learned scholar of Navadvipa, and his posing as a great fool was certainly to some purpose. Hearing this inquiry by the sannyasi, the Lord smiled and said, "My dear sir, if you do not mind, I will answer your inquiry." Hare Krishna, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Subhashri, you want to read?
You want me to read, Swami? Prabhu?
Subhashri. Yeah, that's Subhashri. Anyone?
Thank you.
Yeah.
All the sannyasis there were very much pleased with the Lord of his honest dealings, and they unanimously replied that they would not be offended by whatever he replied. The Lord then spoke as follows: Vedanta Sutra consists of transcendental words or sounds uttered by the transcendental personality of Godhead. As such, in the Vedanta, there cannot be any human deficiencies like mistake, illusion, cheating, or inefficiency. The message of the Upanishads is expressed in the Vedanta Sutra, and what is said there directly is certainly glorified. Whatever interpretations have been given by Shankaracharya have no direct bearing on the sutra, and therefore such commentation spoils everything.
Okay. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is pointing out the flaw flaw in the uh, interpretation of all these impersonalist Mayavadis. Okay, Ruby Mataji, you want to read?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Yeah.
Please do.
The word Brahman indicates the greatest of all, which is full with the transcendental opulences, superior to all. Brahman is ultimately the personality of Godhead, and he is covered by indirect interpretations and established as impersonal. Everything that is in the spiritual world is full of transcendental bliss, including the form, body, place, and paraphernalia of the Lord. All are eternally cognizant and blissful. It is not the fault of the Acharya Shankara that he has so interpreted Vedanta, but if someone accepts it, then certainly he is doomed. Anyone who accepts the transcendental body of the personality of Godhead as something mundane certainly commits the greatest blasphemy.
Okay. So he's basically, you know, refuting this impersonal interpretations. Says everything is personal there, even all the paraphernalia, everything in the spiritual world, Krishna's form, body, place, paraphernalia, everything is full of transcendental bliss, like that. Yeah, next. Yes, Mantaji, you read. Meenakshi Mantaji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. The Lord thus spoke to the sannyasi almost in the same way that he spoke to Bhattacharya of Puri, and by forceful arguments, he nullified the Mayavada interpretations of the Vedanta Sutra. All the sannyasis were claimed that the Lord was the personified Vedas and the personality of Godhead. All the sannyasis were converted to the cult of Bhakti. All of them accepted the holy name of the Lord Sri Krishna, and they dined together with the Lord in the midst of them. After this conversation of the sannyasis, the popularity of the Lord increased at Varanasi, and thousands of people assembled to see the Lord in person. The Lord thus established the primary importance of Srimad Bhagavad Dharma, and he defeated all the other systems of spiritual realization. Since then, everyone at Varanasi was overwhelmed with the transcendental Sankirtana movement.
So this is how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu transformed this Prakashananda Saraswati, and not only just him alone, but all his followers. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu establishes the importance of Srimad Bhagavatam. And then the Sankirtan movement started there, and everybody was just overwhelmed by this Sankirtan. So this is how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of course, he's the Supreme Lord himself, he can do whatever he wants. But he's see how he's just going around and then transforming everyone around. This is how he's preaching. Okay, next, who wants to read? Shloka Mataji, you want to read?
Yes, yes. While the Lord was camping at Varanasi, Santana Goswami also arrived after retiring from office. He was formerly one of the state ministers in the government of Bengal, then under the regime of Nawab Hussain Shah. He had some difficulty in getting relief from the state service for the Nawab was reluctant to let him leave. Nonetheless, he came to Varanasi and the Lord taught him the principles of devotional service. He taught him about the constitutional position of the living being, the cause of his bondage under material conditions, his eternal relation with the personality of Godhead, the transcendental position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his expansions in different plenary portions of incarnations, his control of different parts of the universe, the nature of his transcendental abode, devotional activities, their different stage of development, the rules and regulations for achieving the gradual stages of spiritual perfection, the symptoms of different incarnations in different ages, and how to detect them with reference to the context of revealed scriptures. Hare Krishna.
So this is Sanatan Goswami, and then he came also later to Varanasi, and the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is having this conversation for next 2 months. It's famous as Sanatan Siksha, and he's teaching all these different aspects of devotional life. Okay, Shamna Mataji, go ahead, read.
Hare Krishna. The Lord's teachings to Sanatana Goswami form a big chapter in the text of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, and to explain the whole teachings in minute details will require a volume in itself. These are treated in detail in our book, Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. At Mathura, the Lord visited all the important places. Then he reached Vrindavana. Lord Chaitanya appeared in the family of a high caste Brahmana, and over and above that, as sannyasi, he was the preceptor for all the Varnas and Ashramas. But he used to accept meals from all classes of Vaishnavas. At Mathura, the Sanodiya Brahmanas
Brahmanas. Yes.
are considered to be in the lower status of society, but the Lord accepted meals in the family of such a Brahmana also, because his host happened to be a disciple of the Madhavendra Puri family.
So now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has reached to
Correct.
Mathura, Vrindavan, and there he accepted a meal, Sanodiya Brahman. Yeah. Okay, last. Who wants to read last? Krishna Raj, read.
Yes, Prabhuji. At Vrindavana, the Lord took bath in 24 important bathing places and gat- ghatas. Ghatas. He traveled to all the 12 important vanas forests. In these forests, all the cows and birds welcomed him, as if he were their very old friend. The Lord also began to embrace all the trees of those forests, and by doing so, he felt the symptoms of transcendental ecstasy. Sometimes he fell unconscious, but he was made to regain consciousness by the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. The transcendental symptoms that were visible on the body of the Lord during his travel within the forest of Vrindavana were all unique and inexplicable, and we have just given a synopsis only. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in the Vrindavan Mandal Parikrama, and he will go and visit various places. So what are all places? He visited all the 12 forests, Dwadash Kanan, and then so many other places. So we'll see that. We'll continue reading more tomorrow. Okay. So thank you everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Sanatan Prabhu. Hare Krishna.